Hello it's me. Today we're going to talk about A Deadly Education by Naomi Novik. This book is set in a world where magic users exist, but their upbringing is fraught with danger, as the world is crawling with magical entities unbeknownst to the mundanes that want to eat the magic users while they're still young before they grow up and become a challenge. To increase their odds of survival, the magical communities have banded together and created a school called the Scholomance, which most magical users attend as kids. The school is sentient, exists without staff, exists outside of reality in sort of a pocket dimension, and through its trial by fire lessons and the dishing out of spells from the school's almost infinite library to each student to suit their needs, it seeks to sort of arm the students to the teeth, so that by the time of graduation they have a better chance at fighting their way through the hordes of magical entities crawling at the doors to get to the juicy student buffet that's waiting behind them, from them all being in the same place. So it's sort of the more of you there are in one place and the better armed you all are, the lower each student's chance of dying will be. Within this world there exist two types of magic, mana and malia. The first being something you generate through effort to fuel your spells. The second is one that has adverse effect on you and is drawn from life force. Each student is born with an innate knack for a certain kind of spell or magic or study, be it alchemy, artificing, destruction magic, transformation, etc., etc. And the character we follow through the journey at this school is called Galadriel, who was born with a rare and terrible knack for mass destruction, which has to be constantly kept in check, and she refuses to fuel it through Malia. With one sloppy thought, she could suck the life out of half the student body and destroy the school itself. The school itself is built like a multi-story drum. There's a beautiful illustration on the inside cover. Lovely. And each year the rings of the school rotate and drop down until at graduation the senior students are dumped out into the Hall of Monsters waiting for them. But the wards are weakening and more things than usual are starting to worm their way into the school. So the students have to really take fate in their own hands and mend these defences before graduation day, or sort of tip the odds in their favour. It's a story about background, a story about having to work harder than other people because of a birth disadvantage you have no control over. It's about prejudice based on your outward appearance and qualities about yourself you can't change. The assumptions people make about each other without knowing the first thing about each other's lives. And a lot of this book is probably good metaphor for prejudices that occur in schools today. Firstly, Novik usually writes adult fantasy. This felt very much like YA, and I'm not sure why she's done that. Maybe it's just because the characters are a lot younger in this than they are in her other books, and it's making me feel like it's a YA novel. It's definitely dark academia, so if you like that, read this. So things I liked and things I didn't like. First thing that really tickled me in this book was that an American author, I think Novik's American, used the word cwtch, which was nice. A lovely little Welsh word that means snuggle or cuddle. Welsh stuff doesn't pop up that much in international literature. The word twat is also used, which is a common English insult, and it's twat, not twat. I don't know why it's said like that in the US. However, this book does throw the word wanker around a lot, and I don't think we actually say that as much as everybody else thinks we do. The main character is great. There's a lot of understandable anger that comes from understandable resentment, from her not being able to live her life the same way as other students, and from them not making any effort to understand her, at least at first. She's sarcastic and mean. She is mean, but her really fantastic quality is her restraint. And I will say it's difficult to write sarcasm as well. When you try and mix sarcasm with wit, you sometimes get this really sort of neckbeardy, cringy character, but it hasn't happened here. I think Novik's done a really good job. Galadriel was very human. I liked how the journey through the school year was just that, and I liked that the main character wasn't completed by the addition of a love interest. I liked that for the most part the love interest was just a distraction for Galadriel from her goals, and even when through the book she starts to change her opinions about him, it doesn't take any steam away from her what she wants out of the school. This is not Galadriel's journey from loneliness to being in a relationship. It's a journey from her being alone through no fault of her own to proving herself, exceeding other people's expectations, challenging their views and being accepted by her peers as a human being, things which she shouldn't have to do anyway. This was a fast-paced book and it was pretty easy to read. I know a lot of people thought this book was a bit of a slog, and I'm still honestly not sure about the payoff ending myself, but I still enjoyed it. Where it really shines though is world building, which is pretty much Naomi Novik's specialty anyway. She really excels at it in everything she's written so far that I've read of hers. This book is rich in information, and despite it all being set in a school, it doesn't make the world feel small because there's a lot of talk about consequence. There are things that happen outside the school among the magical families that have an impact on school life, and things the students do that are going to have repercussions when they leave. It's a really solid world build, and it's difficult to find fault with, honestly, because Novik has thought of everything. Things I didn't like or wasn't too keen on. Honestly, this book is one big info dump. It's like Naomi Novik built this amazing, and it is amazing, world and wanted to show it off, rather than writing a story and developing a world around that. The story really plays second fiddle to the author going, what about this cool thing, and this cool thing, and this cool thing? There was so little character interaction for most of the book, and hardly any dialogue at all. It felt like 2 or 3 lines of dialogue, 3 or 4 paragraphs of Galadriel's internal monologue, and then 3 pages of background lore to explain everything, and repeat that for 300 pages. And honestly, as good as the world build was, the storyline was weak. Students are prepping for finals. A girl who is prejudiced against because of her background accidentally befriends a popular kid, subsequently gets a friend group, proves herself valuable and kind. There's problems in the school, a breach in the school, they try and fix it, that's it. And it didn't help that a lot of the characters in the book don't really get explored until much later in the book, but maybe this was deliberate and it was a symptom of Galadriel opening up to people, and maybe I'm just being whiny. But it did take like 150 pages for anything to happen. I feel like I probably could have got the same level of enjoyment out of this book if it was a fictional encyclopedia. One of the things I was most annoyed about was there are so many monsters name dropped and sort of things name dropped, artifacts and stuff like that. And there's very little actually described. I feel like if there had been more description of the school interior, the students, the monsters that attack the students, the things they're going to face on the outside, I could have forgiven the book the lack of story. The only thing that was described at all in depth was the Moormouth and the shiny book that Galadriel finds. The world build has such incredible potential, and I know Novik can describe it properly because she's done it in other books. So I feel like maybe this is just a slow start to a really amazing series, and it's setting the scene for the series, and everybody's going to look back and say, God, thank God she explained all that stuff in book 1. Fingers crossed, fingers crossed. I know the author has so much talent, but this one didn't really boggle my mind. It was fun. I'll probably read the others in the set as and when they come out. I'm not sure how much they're going to be. I don't know if Novik has said anything about this so far. But at the moment, wasted potential, good characters in a good world with just a boring story. So I can't give this more than 3 stars, I'm afraid. But I did still enjoy it, and definitely read it if you like dark academia. Maybe it's just because I don't read that much dark academia. This might be the book for you. So check it out. If you've read it, let me know what you thought of it. Interested to hear. What did you like about it? What didn't you like about it? Did you feel like it was an info dump as well? I'm going to link my Twitter underneath, so make sure you follow me on Twitter. That's pretty much it. Thanks very much for watching this review, and I'll see you soon. Don't forget to like and subscribe.